Chapter 71. I put my hand on his face. His white face is cold. Please bring a dry towel. Oh, yes, miss. The surprised butler hastily brought some dry towels. One over Perez's right shoulder and the other over his head, wrapped around him tightly. It's so cold. Why you went through all this rain? I feel like the rain will destroy all the flowers. Ah, Tia, you told me that Tia's father could heal only with this flower. Stupid. I grabbed Perez's hand and dragged him up the stairs. Still, he never asked a question. Where are you going? He just kept quiet and followed my steps without difficulty. I took Perez back to my room and set him in front of the fireplace. Please make more fire in the fireplace. The butler quickly put some more firewood into the fire. What about Caitlin? Does Kylos know you're here? They probably don't know. I wonder you didn't go out alone in the middle of the night to pick up Bomnia flowers as soon as you got my letter, did you? Asterisk, and since it started to rain, you didn't even think to stop and go inside, and I just kept crouching and digging there, thinking that you had to dig up the flowers before they fell, did you? And you came here right after digging up the whole bomnia and putting it in a wooden crate and waking up the driver without notifying Caitlin or Kylos, isn't it? Perez avoids my gaze with the flickering fireplace fire. First, send someone to the Imperial Palace, please. No, Imperial Palace, send someone to Toyrock Palace. Perhaps by now the palace was turned upside down, knowing that Perez had disappeared. Perez was looking at me. Water was dripping down his black hair. I said while wiping Perez's hair with a towel. I'll apologize to Caitlin and Kylos later. Tia, why? Because you have brought me Bomnia flower. You were here to help me. But Perez tried to say something but then closed his mouth again. Then he picked up the box he had put down on one side and handed over to me. But I shook my head. I'm going to check if your body is warming up. Perez thought for a moment at my words, then went near the fireplace and started drying his hair. Meanwhile, the butler who came back brought the hot tea and hot soup and prepared dry clothes. Looks, it's warm now. Perez came over and said, putting his hand on my cheek. Like he said, until a little while ago, his hands, which seemed to be cold and not bleeding, had quickly regained their warmth. So go ahead, he did not refuse. I took the box containing the Pomnia flower and asked Perez, quickly changing your clothes and eating something warm. Perez responded quickly like a dog that listens well. I left the room, only the sound of my footsteps and the rattling of boxes echoed in the dark hallway. My steps got faster. At one point I was running. When I arrived at Astira's laboratory, in one of the annexes, it felt like it was going to burst out of my chin. Miss Florentia? Estira. Stira was still awake. The lights were on and the books were scattered all over the place, suggesting that she was researching drugs. I opened the box in front of Estira. I've got the Bomia flowers. Oh, this is... Estira couldn't speak when she touched the red petals in disbelief. I handed the box to Estira, and I said it with the most earnest heart in my life. Now save my dad, Estira. It only took Estira a few hours to create a new drug. At sunrise, Estira took it straight to my father. It's a new medicine. My father, which had worsened over the past few days, laughed bitterly when he saw the new medicine that Estira was offering. He didn't seem to be expecting much. Thanks for keeping on trying, Estira. My father was repeating those words while drinking with his left hand, which is the only limb that can move. I could have approached my father and said a few words, but I stepped back. Even if it's not, I don't want my sick dad to present he's fine because of me. I'd rather my father cry a little more and get angry. My father just laughed until he was about to die, just like in my last time. But in this life, I know my father cry alone in his room in the middle of the night. Also, I know what caused my father's red swollen eyes the next day. I watched it from afar and quietly left my father's room. It was a room where Perez stayed near my house for a while. After moving in the rain for a long time, Perez might get cold. It wasn't serious. My grandfather, who found out why he came to the mansion in the middle of the night, sent a letter directly to the emperor to let Perez stay as a guest of the family. How about Perez? He just drank his medicine and fell asleep. Kylos, who had received a call from the palace, answered a low voice. When I quietly approached the bed, Perez was asleep with an unknown face. I looked at it for a while, then pulled on the blanket and dug into the seat next to Perez. Miss Florentia. Kylos came closer with his head tilted. It was a face that asked why I left my normal room and lied down here. I don't want to be alone right now. A very mean voice kept asking in the corner of my mind, are you sure Bomnia is the correct answer? I don't know either, but if Bomnia really isn't the last piece, what am I supposed to do then? Can we find another answer in time? Can I save my father? My head was spinning once. My body, which had not slept all night, finally reached its limit. The warmth of Perez, which was subtly transmitted from a place not far away, seemed to soothe the heart. Finally, looking at the guy's black hair scattered on the white pillow, I fell asleep. Asterisk. Miss. Laurel shook me to wake me up. I opened my eyes. The surrounding was all dark. Perez, who was sleeping next to me, was already up and standing in his new clothes. What's up? Laurel's expression is strange. I jumped out of bed without hearing any answer. What's going on? I could feel with my skin that the atmosphere around me was chaotic. My heart pounded nervously. No way. I quickly ran into my father's room. Many people had already come in. Grandpa and Aunt Shananette and even Bees and Laurel. All the people of the Lombardi family looked at me. Why? Unfinished words came out of my mouth. I tried to read anything from the faces of those who looked at me, but it didn't work, as if my head had stopped. I moved my heavy feet as if something was dragging them to the ground. Little by little, I moved closer to the bed. People made their way without saying a word, and finally, I could see my father on the bed. Tia! Oh, Dad! Hearing my father's cheerful voice, my legs loosened and staggered. Oh, everyone reached out to me, but it was my father who held my body. To be precise, it was my father's right hand. It was the hand that had been stolen by Telenbrew. How? It was stable. He was strong and did not tremble. It, its bones were thin, but they kept me from falling. The new drug seems to be working, Tia, Dad said with a soft smile. After a few hours of drinking, my senses slowly returned. My father slowly opened and closed his right hand. I stared blankly at the gentle movement. Tia, my father called me. Dad, I think you're gonna be fine now. It was a smile of relief, as if all burdens had been laid down. Dad, you're gonna be fine now. Took. I heard something popping inside me. Unstoppable tears flowed. Daddy, Daddy. Yes, my Tia. You were worried, weren't you? Dad, Dad, I'm fine now. It's okay. I jumped into my father's arms. A friendly hand patted my back. I didn't know how much I cried. All I remember is that I cried endlessly in my father's arms that day, and that he always said, "It's okay now." And the only thing I heard was the voice of my grandfather saying, "Thank you to Perez." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. It was a perfectly sunny day. A pleasant breeze blew, and the grass was fresh. Outside, I could hear the band rehearsing and the murmurs of greetings from the guests who had arrived in advance. I was dressing up in front of the dressing table with Laurel's help. Miss, are you that happy? Yes, what? You don't know how to keep a smile on your face since before. Oh, is that so? I smiled contentedly when I saw my reflection in the mirror. Today is a special day, so it will take a long time to get your hair done. Be patient. Yeah, do whatever you want. I'm fine. At my relaxed reaction, Laurel laughed as if it was nothing special. You're so bothered about getting your hair done. You must be in a good mood. Yups, I answered in a loud voice. Today is my 11th birthday. Finally, the day that I can freely enter and exit the mansion has come. Chapter 72. My butt is shaking at the thought of going outside from tomorrow. Come to think of it, now you're free to look outside, said Laurel, combing my hair gently. That's exactly what I'm saying, Laurel. What do you want to do first? I needed some time to think. It wasn't to think about what to do, because there was so much to do. It was difficult to prioritize what to do first. When I continued to ponder, Laurel gave me some examples. Lorraine went straight to the flower garden outside Lombardy, and Gillian and Mayron went for a ride outside the castle, and Belsac, I don't know because I'm not interested. Also, our Laurel, it was a very good attitude. I don't know what Belsac did after his 11th birthday. It would be nice if I could think of it that way, but living in the same mansion, it was a known fact that Belsac went out hunting with Astana the day after his birthday, as expected of Astana's number one followers. Ever since Belsac was free to go out, they had grown closer. So what do you want to do, miss? I want to go shopping. Are you going to buy? Are you talking about shopping? Yes, there are so many things I want to buy. Jewelry, moreover the mine where the gem came from. Or delicious food, a restaurant that makes food. Sooner or later, there will be a very good sale. If not, leaving Lombardy and seeing the ecliptic would be fun. I'm planning to go to the Emperor. I will do that all. I will do it all. Oh, my lady, you are greedy too. Of course, because I'm going to eat it all. I and Laurel looked at each other and laughed. The finely combed hair was hung behind the back, and the side hair was pulled out and braided with beautiful white wildflowers. And with Laurel's help, I changed into the dress I'm going to wear today. Miss, when did you say this will go on sale? Looking at the dress I was wearing, Laurel asked with twinkling eyes. Next week. Did this one turn out well? I think it's the prettiest limited edition I've seen so far. Yep, I was very satisfied with Laurel's enthusiastic response. Not long ago, the marketing I started at the Gallihan clothing store was working very well. It's called limited edition. It is a way to break away from the image of ready to wear is a common thing that thing that can be bought at any time, and launch a new premium line targeting nobles. Gallihan clothing stores all over the empire sell very expensive dresses all at once on the same day and at the same time, but the quantity is very limited. Only 200 pieces are released nationwide per series. Among the nobility these days, it is fashionable to collect this one piece in addition to wearing dresses from Gallihan clothing stores in their own way. Competition is so fierce in the royal capital, where there are many powerful and wealthy nobles. They sometimes send servants to buy from branches in distant places. By the way, this limited edition came out to commemorate my birthday, so it's going to be even more special. What's more special? I only made 100 pieces. I laughed wickedly. You are too much. You made such a pretty dress and only sold 100 pieces. Laurel cried and dropped her shoulders. It's a limited edition with a fixed number, so I can take one out for Laurel. I thought about it for a while and decided to give her a small hint. Send Dillard's servant to the third branch. The third branch was relatively far from the residences of the nobility, but like the other branches, a limited edition of 10 copies was to be delivered, so it could lower the competition even a little compared to other places. Laurel, who understood what I meant, nodded her head meaningfully. Smart. Tia, can I come in? My father knocked on the door and poked his head out through the crack in the door. Dad, I got up in front of the dressing table and ran to my father's arms. Ouch. My father was joking, pretending to be pushed back and hugged me, face to face. Now that you are 11 years old, my daughter still has a long way to go when she's all grown up. Absolutely, I'll be cute in front of my dad for the rest of my life. Thanks to Styra's medicine, my father was completely freed from Telenbrus disease. With a week, the paralysis completely disappeared, and after about a month, he recovered enough to be able to take leisurely walk around the annex. And today, my birthday, my father came back in perfect health, although he had lost some weight. Mr. Galgahan, you look great today. Haha, thank you, Laurel. More like losing weight made his face sharper. My father's popularity is increasing day by day. I wondered if I would be able to meet my stepmother soon. Can you give Dad a moment before going to the party? My father reached out to me. I grabbed his hand. My father's hand, which is still much bigger than mine, was warm and soft. We headed to the annex. My father stopped in front of the door after walked along the long corridor. Open it, Dad said when he let go of my hand. Click. I turned the candle. The door opened gently. It's a gift from Dad to Tia. A large window filled with sunlight and a drawing room filled with soft and warm colors welcomed us. It's my room. Is this my house? Yes. Wow. I ran and opened some of the doors to the drawing room. There is a bedroom, a small living room, and a study room. Tia's study in the main building has been moved here. I think this will be much more comfortable to use. It really was. All the books and writing instruments that were stained with my hands were moved here. From now on, Tia can use this house comfortably. Of course, if you came down more often, Father wouldn't be so lonely. Dad, but considering that I will be busy in the future, this is better. Really, Dad can't lie. As I promised my father last time, I confided in things at the right time. It was simple things like how did you send Shannon to Mrs. Susu and since when did you know Perez? But with only those pieces, my father seemed to have figured out most of me. It's been a while since I asked for your opinion on deciding what to do with Gallihan clothing store. The idea that was born like that was the limited edition. Artia. My father hugged me tightly. Happy birthday. I wanted to be the first to give you a birthday present than everyone else. Thank you, Dad. I also hugged my father tightly. It's like a dream that my father was with me like this on my 11th birthday. The fact that my father overcame Talanbru disease and was in front of me in good health. My father kissed my forehead with a lot of affection. I felt like crying, so I hugged my father tighter. Now I've reached the first goal I thought of after returning. Saving my father, but I still have a lot of work to do. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Let's start the meeting. The chairman seated at the top of the table focused his attention and said, there are some who haven't come yet, so please wait a little longer. Ferdinand Janus said slowly, putting his buttocks on his seat. But it had been delayed a lot since the time the meeting started. The reason is some of Anjana's close relatives have not come. Dozens of nobles who arrived on time and filled the conference room were waiting for them. There's no point in starting a meeting if important people don't come anyway. I came here thinking it was late, but it hadn't even started yet. What is this? A person was coming in leisurely, pushing both sides of the conference hall's door. Lord Lombardi. The chairman jumped up from his seat. Dulac Lombardi had previously been chairman for decades before the current chairman. What are you doing here? After a few years of rest, I'm trying to get interested in state affairs again. Ah, then the chairman. No, I didn't come here to take on such a heavy duty. I'm too old for that. I just came with a simple mind. If you have a simple mind, I have a promise to someone, Lulak answered and smiled at Ferdig Anjanas who was sitting opposite him. You will be thinking about it countless times in the future, regret it again and again. I shouldn't have touched Gallihan back then. Hiccup. He recalled what had happened in the Emperor's office. Lord of Anjanas hiccuped in fear. Let's start the meeting. Is there any reason to keep this many people? Waiting for just a few people. The chairman glanced at Lord of Angenas. No matter how long Angenas flew, it was nothing compared to Lombardi. In the end, throughout the meeting, Angenas won nothing. It was all because of Lulak's interference, and the members of the nobility council who had been suppressed by Angenas all this time sided with Lulak. Lulak smiled and said to Ferdic Angenas, who had a poopy face, What, you already in tears? You're already in tears? There's a lot left to be upset in the future. It was such a blatant laugh. Then I must go. Lord of Lombardi, if you have time, let's have a meal together. I'm sorry, but let's do it together next time. I have a very important job today. Ah, may you and your majesty, it's my granddaughter's birthday. Yes? I have to go to my granddaughter's birthday party. Gosh, it's late. The chairman tapped the gavel twice as instructed with a blank face. It meant that the meeting was officially closed. Then I'll go first. The chairman was startled when he watched the wind blow through the conference hall, but he seemed to know one thing for sure. In the future, Angenas will not be able to set up as he pleases at the aristocratic conference. End of chapter 72. Chapter 73. My 11th birthday party started. Lombardi's banquet hall was full of guests. It was quite a big party. big birthday party, then my eighth birthday party. It's like doubled from before. The difference is my grandfather deliberately invited people at that time, but this time the party naturally grew bigger because many people wanted to come. It was all my father and grandfather's guests, but I didn't mind. Oh, Lady Florentia Lombardi. Is that dress coming in limited edition? Happy birthday, lady. You're so pretty today. The number of people who recognize me has increased. Hello, thank you for coming. Smiling gently at them, I looked around the banquet hall. A large fountain close in the garden attached to the banquet hall, and next to it I saw my father talking briskly with others. Ha 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 ha, that's a brilliant idea. Now he was more active than before he got sick. Green eyes sparkle when he sees the person he is talking to. He seemed very good at dealing with people with a relaxed smile. Maybe that's why there were so many people next to my father. Everyone seemed to listen to my father's words, jokes, and story. Happy birthday. Wow, suddenly something white and fluffy popped out from the side of my face. Gilliam, Mayron, you guys scared me. They were twins playing with a big white teddy bear. Hehe. What are you surprised about, Tia? Now that they have entered a period of full growth, both of them are growing fast by the day. Long time no see. Hasn't it been a month since you came back here? Yeah, that's right. I was bored to death. For the past month, the two have been on the Scots estate. Father, I'm late. It was to spend time with their father, Vestian, for a vacation. There's nothing around. And then pleasant atmosphere, we're in a terrible mood. The twins answered my question at the same time. I thought my father was a strict person, but he wasn't. My father was very docile compared to his relatives. No way, really? Especially at mealtime. There's a platter of dish plates. There were 10 of us eating together. I was suffocating. Maybe there was a lot of stuff piled up, but the two spat out complaints nonstop. If it was so hard, you should have come back halfway. You don't have to stay for a month. The Scots mansion wasn't that far away anyway. Not long ago, the twins turned 15 years old. They were easy to move in a carriage. But Gillian and Mayron's reaction was a little strange. They sneak up on each other, then turn their backs. Come on, get your birthday present. It's a bear, especially from the Skulls estate. It's very suspicious, but I'll let them fool me. I accepted the teddy bear. It's soft and fluffy, but it's not that impressive. They're not a twin who doesn't know me because I'm not interested in dolls. Why did they give this gift? While I was still staring at the teddy bear, Myron asked in a mischievous voice, "What do you think? Do you like a teddy bear?" "Yes, well, thanks, but I'm not a rude person enough to complain about what you gave me as a gift." But Killia tapped Myron on the shoulder and said, "Look, Tia wouldn't say anything. She's too nice for that." "Oh, I thought you'd throw away the teddy bear. You're too nice, Tia." Killia grinned and Myron held his head in regret. I think they made a bet over my reaction to the teddy bear. Myron sighed and said, "Tia, if you don't like something, you should say no. You always think too much about other people." "Did I? What do I do?" "You're too nice. Now Gil, you join. This is not our gift. You have to look forward to something bigger." "What's bigger?" They don't answer my question. They just smile. "What does Tia want?" "Me? If you ask me to tell you what I want, I can stay up all night." But I looked at my father who was having a pleasant conversation with people around him. I don't think I can hope for more today. It's because my father was still alive on my 11th birthday. Different from my previous life, which I spent alone. For me, it was enough to have a fun birthday party today. "You can't do that." Myron patted my head slightly and laughed. "I'll buy you a real present soon, so let's go out with us." Yes, there are quite a few interesting places in downtown Lombardy, but it's dangerous for Tia to go out alone, so be sure to join us. "How do you know I'm going to walk around alone often from now on?" "Tia," Myron squinted and called me. "All right," they had a sharp sense. I nodded quickly. "Just in case, you should never go around alone," Gilly told me, pretending to be quiet, to be quite an old cousin. "How are you guys?" a quiet voice asked the twins. "Hello, Lorraine." "Happy birthday, Tia. I put my present over there with other presents. Tia is so pretty." "Thank you. I'll use it well. And Gil you, Myron." I don't think they're the two people who can give Tia that advice. Lorraine said comfortably, "No, why not? Who are the people who don't know that they are stuck in the mansion in the meadow for months from the day after the 11th birthday party?" Huh, the twins failed to refute Lorraine, though they did not speak loudly or reproachfully. I changed the subject of the conversation with a smile. "Lorraine is getting prettier and prettier. I'm so jealous." It's not an empty word. With only 2 years left of adulthood now, Lorraine is truly blooming day by day. Just now, men of my age at my birthday party couldn't take their eyes off Lorraine. They must have fallen in love with Lorraine when their ears turned red. She's like a pure lily. She was so pure and fragile that people were scared to see, so they wanted to protect her. At the same time, people around me keep saying that I really don't know. Lorraine's white face turned red. Lombardi is usually immune to this compliment. This was obviously a matter of innate character. But I'm glad Tia said that. Tia is getting prettier. Right, Tia is the best. A small face popped out from behind Lorraine. It was Franny, Astalia's 7-year-old younger brother, with red beet-like hair and a freckled face. After hiding after hiding bush and eavesdropping on my conversation with Perez, Craney had somehow become my fan. Tia is the best. Craney rushed in and hugged my waist, and looked up with clear eyes that seemed to shake hearts. "Craney, you can't do that to Tia. We have guests here." Lorraine gently admonished Craney, and kept him away from me. "Wow, but Tia is busy, so I've only seen her for a week today as well." Strangely, I'm used to faces with open eyes. I've seen that face before, but next to Craney, the twins started to grumble together. Right, Tia's too busy these days. You're in your study every day. I can't even see your face. Oh, it was you guys. I thought I'd seen it somewhere, and suddenly he's like a twin who was following me around. Sighing inwardly, I said to Craney, Craney, are you reading a book a week as you promised? As you promised? Yes, I read all the books Tia lent me. Can I borrow it again? Alright, I'll allow you to come to my study to borrow books from now on. Wow, I'm excited. I'm going to read a lot. First of all, early education is the best. I patted Craney on the head. Craney was incredibly bright. It's nonsense that he was Astalia's brother, who seemed to have his head full of muscles. Before returning, the last news I heard was that Craney quite prominent since joining the Imperial Academy. When he was young, I felt sorry that he could have entered the academy more prepared if he hadn't wasted his time with bees. But in this time, Craney started to follow me rather than his brother Astalio, and now I decided to help Craney a little bit. I'm thinking of changing the future of strangers, but there's no reason to pretend not to know Craney, who's a cousin and follows me well. When I pat him on the head, his smiling face is quite cute, and and then I looked up. Huh? A boy who passed me was seen walking without knowing that he had dropped his handkerchief. Hey, a boy turned around at my call. You dropped this. The boy who looked about the same age as the twins alternately looked at his handkerchief and turned red. Thank you, Lady Florentia Lombardi. Some of the kids who were interested in Lorraine just said that, and he's turning red. I held out his handkerchief with a grin. Relax, I don't bite. And mine and the boy's fingertips slightly crossed. Oops. Surprised, the boy missed his handkerchief and was chasing it with his own eyes when it fell on the floor. A hand that appeared from somewhere grabbed a white handkerchief. It was an unusual rough hand among the nobles with a lot of calluses. Here you go, deep red eyes and darker black hair under the sun. Hi, Tia. It was Perez. End of chapter 73. Chapter 74. Hello, Perez. I was surprised. Why are you so tall? Were you this big? Perez was punished to self-refined for his irresponsible behavior for leaving the palace alone in the middle of the night. Thanks to it, we haven't met in the meantime. We just exchanged letters like before. Growth period. Yeah, it's a growing period. That's why he grew up. But it's even more amazing. He was originally grown up when he's kid. Now enters when he kid. Now he enters a full-fledged growth period. It's his 14th birthday soon, but now he's still 13 years old. In terms of height, he was as tall as the twins and their peers. You dropped this. Perez returned the handkerchief. I looked at him blankly. This isn't mine. It's his. Oh, really? Perez looked at the boy he was pointing at. Second prince. Oh, the boy who lowered his head looked at Perez and was scared. For some reason, I wanted to see Perez's face, but I couldn't see well because of his black hair covered in sunlight. But I don't think there's much to it. It was a weak impression, but also his real personality. Take it. No, no, thank you. The boy who refused to accept his handkerchief turned blue and ran away. What's wrong with him? Well, did he want to go to the bathroom? I'm sorry if we bothered you in a hurry. I tilted my head when I heard Myron murmur next to me. He'd want to go to the bathroom, even if it wasn't. Who? Perez asked when he looked at Myron standing right next to me. But the atmosphere is a bit strange. The red eyes seem to have gotten a little darker. Maybe it's because I haven't seen him in a while, or maybe it's in the shade. If I wasn't familiar with Perez's personality, I might say it was hostility. I'm Tia's cousin, Myron Lombardi, and this is Gilia Lombardi. Oh, hi. As expected, I didn't see it well. He was just being shy. Perez's face came back as I knew it. When I looked up at the sky, the sun, which had been slightly covered by clouds, shone again. I'm Perez. I know, but this time the twins' atmosphere was strange. It was a disapproving face that glanced at Perez. What's wrong with you two? The shy guy mustered up his courage and introduced himself first. You're not trying to be nice, are you? Well, it's not that. We're just... The twins raised their voices as if they were falsely accused. It's okay, Tia. Maybe they're being shy like me. Perez spoke advisingly. By the way, the twins tapped on their chests. I glanced at them once and introduced Perez to another cousin. This is Lorraine. She's Belsac's sister. Belsac? You've met my brother. Yeah, a few times. When Perez answered, by tilting his head, Lorraine smiled bitterly. This is Craney. Have you seen him? Craney was hiding behind me before I knew it. Well, it's worth being scared of. The last time he saw him, he cut down the tree. Did he? Perez didn't seem to remember Craney. He sighed softly and patted Craney's round little head, explaining, he's Astalio's brother. He was eavesdropping on our story last time. Astalio? Well, the big one next to Elsa. Ah, only then did Perez nod, looking at Craney. Oh, Craney dug further behind me and hid. Hello, nice to meet you. Sorry about the other day. Perez, slightly lowering himself, but it's not even close. Craney was still scared and wary of Perez. Well, let's go eat something delicious. Sweets, sweets, I said, while pointing to the chocolate fountain in the distance. Wouldn't this awkward atmosphere be relieved if something sweet goes into their mouth? Thinking so, I moved on with the twins Lorraine, Perez, and Craney, who was holding my skirt. Asterisk. Galliahan was talking to the aristocrats around him and suddenly looked at his daughter. The child who had been wandering around the banquet hall by herself a little while ago was surrounded by her cousins and the second prince. They're heading towards the chocolate fountain. Seeing Florentia and the children walking together, Gallian quietly smiled a little. He prepared it carefully for Tia, who loves chocolate. A grumpy voice that broke the mood spoke. You're still extraordinary, brother. It was Bees and Gallahan who met face to face after a long time. I can't believe I'm celebrating the 11th birthday and a girl's birthday. Bees clicked his tongue when he looked back at the banquet hall with a smiling face. Isn't it too much waste? Lombardi's hall is the only one I borrowed today. It's all with my personal expenses. If that's the case, but even if it's your money, isn't it too much? You're spending too much money. That's fine. What's the use of making so much money if you don't spend it on your beloved daughter? That's fine. Money has to be spent on bigger things. He tried to be patient in front of the crowd. Gallian's patience had now run out with these continuing offensive remarks. How you spend your money depends on the person who makes it. What? I don't think I should get advice from my brother about money. Beast realized that there were a lot of eyes around him looking down at his anger according to his personality, so he stared instead. I almost died once, so I can see it. Yes, Gallian smiled, but he did not hide his hostility toward Beast. Because I was bedridden with a terminal illness, I saw clearly who was friendly and who was the enemy. After recovering, Gallian was the first to investigate who leaked the secret to Angenas. As a result, Dr. O'Malley, who diagnosed Callahan, opened his mouth on the condition that he would not be accused, and his testimony pointed to V's. When he heard that Callahan had Telling Bruce disease, he laughed so cheerfully. Thanks to you, I feel my eyes open. Callahan made a ready-to-wear business to protect Tia, and received an estate to hand over to Tia. He thought with satisfaction that it was enough for now. As soon as V's found out that he had an incurable disease, he tried to spoil everything. No, he took the ready-to-wear business from his brother, who was bedridden, and offered it to Angenas. There was no more affection left as before in Callahan's eyes towards V's. Although it took a long time to distinguish between enemies and friends, Galyahan was not soft enough to have an affection for those who once turned to the enemy. Galyahan is the son of Lulak, inheriting many of his mother's features. He had no intention of forgiving, and he had no intention of backing down like before. It's, B said after coughing loudly. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure you do. Gallian's tone was imbued with a faint sneer. This is a birthday party I held for my daughter. If you have anything you don't like, you can go back. What? Gallian, you're talking too much. Vis was upset, but Gallian let it slip away, and with a grin he added, Goodbye, brother. The nobles around him laughed softly. They just couldn't laugh out loud in front of Vis. It was a fact that all central nobles knew that Vis, the oldest son of the Lombardi family, was a clumsy person somewhere. However, he did not openly ignore Lombardi because he had a wife from Agenas. Vis, who stood there and stared at Callahan, turned around and left the banquet hall, but Callahan didn't even look back. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The atmosphere of the banquet had reached its peak. The music became more exciting and more people danced in the middle of the banquet hall. There were times when adults filled the flow of pairs and children who were not yet adults divided men and women and danced in groups. The twins and Lorraine, who were guarding me, joined it when Craney was called to his parents. Why are you standing so far away? Perez, the only man, was 4 or 5 steps away from me. I said that before, I can't seem too close to you yet. Oh, that. I was worried that we'll be involved in the middle of the confrontation between the Empress and grandfather, and the first and the second princess. It's out of the question. What do you mean? I've become your supporter, and that's not enough. Rumors have already spread that you saved my father. Besides, Angenas tried to take away my father's ready-to-wear business. Already my father, Empress, and Angenas were at odds. Grandfather seems to be very angry about it. Maybe that's why my grandfather returned to the aristocracy because of Angenas. Now that I look around the banquet hall, I can hardly see the people of the pro-Empress family Angenas. Already the nobles have slowly begun to set their course. One good thing was that Emperor Jovanes was balancing the balance by weighing from side to side in the middle. It was a bit cumbersome because we were going to have a bad relationship with Angenas one day. I can't help it now that it's. I stopped talking and looked at Paris, who was next to me. Why? When I glanced, Paris tilted his head with a slightly brazen face. You're gonna regret it later. You're in trouble if there's a rumor that you're more than just friends with me. How come? Because only once in my previous life, when I saw Perez mixed up among the people watching, Perez was not alone. Behind the horse driven by Perez with a cold face that welcomes everyone, there was a courage that the woman was in. Anyway, don't do anything you'll regret later. I pat Perez's body away. No, I tried to push him away, but Perez didn't get pushed out with and was frowning somewhere. End of chapter 74. Chapter 75. What's wrong with him? Perez, you know people are paying attention to us, right? I guess so. What do you mean, I guess so? You are so calm. I decided to explain one by one. There was a reason why my grandfather was against being a part of you in the first place, right? If we did something wrong, we would be misunderstood as a marriage partner. Yes, I know. And I know that people there are people around him. But it doesn't matter. What? It doesn't matter. Oh, it's frustrating that you're the only one who knows the future. Because he doesn't know what kind of woman he meets and how he falls in love with in the future. He may be indifferent to whatever rumors are circulating right now. I sighed softly. As far as I know, that woman is like Perez's soulmate. Rumor has it that the two were like a match made in heaven and were indeed a really good match. In addition, she was the person who helped Perez retake the throne. If such a person hears rumors and loses touch with Perez, it's a big deal. Even if I can help him become the crown prince, I cannot tolerate taking away the opportunity to meet such a precious person from him. I shook my head firmly. Rumors like that don't help you. Don't regret it. You better draw a clear line from now on. Tia, Perez calls me. I have no regrets. You'll regret it. I won't regret it. You were stubborn. It's all about you. You don't even know how I feel. I was so frustrated that I felt like I was going to burst, but I soon accepted it. He doesn't know the future. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I just have to be careful instead. But Perez is strangely quiet, closed his lower lip and turned his head to the side. Did you upset? There's no answer. He only steps on and takes off a leaf that has fallen to the ground with his toes. Hey, Perez. I slipped my shoulder, took a look at him, but soon flicked his head away. You must be really upset. Hold on a second here, I said that and scoured the table where the food was placed for it. It just so happens that not far away was what I was looking for. Eat this and let it go. Pat is still standing there looking sullen. I handed over chocolate cookies. But it's not just normal cookie. Big chocolate cookies, bigger than my palms combined. He accepted it and cut it in half. You eat too. I think the one you gave me is bigger. I bit off half of the giant cookie. The sweetness spreads in my mouth and my tongue as the chocolate melts. In my mouth and my tongue as the chocolate melts. Okay. Oh, it's sweet. It's strange for people to think that sweets are not good for their health and tastes better. My body trembled with joy mixed with a sense of betrayal. Of course, sweets are the best when it's complicated. When I opened my eyes as I was absorbed with cookies, I could see a smile on Paris' lips. That's good, isn't it? Yes, that's good. Perez smiled and nodded. Dude, you've relieved your anger. I patted Perez on the shoulder, which is now above my eye level. He's a little bigger, but he's still young. He's only 13, so it's obvious. Time will tell Perez what I meant by what I said now. I think so too. Perez was more relaxed, and he agreed obediently. You'll find out in time. He said so and bit the cookie once again. Seeing his eyes twinkling, he must have liked the chocolate cookie quite a bit. I should pack it for him when he goes home. Oh, come to think of it, I have to go to the academy. Cough. What? I was informed a few days ago. I'm afraid. It must be the will of Empress Robini. I spoke with my voice as low as I could. It was an imperial academy, the object of dreams and envy for the common people, but it was slightly different for the aristocrats and the royal family. Successors to take over the family are not sent to the academy. That was a rule that was implicitly maintained. Heirs are raised in the family and taught directly in the family. However, those who had to continue their titles, such as their second and their third sons, went to the Imperial Academy to build personal connections and gain knowledge. Therefore, the Empress wants to send Perez to the Academy and make sure that the Crown Prince place belongs to Astana. I don't really want to go, Perez murmured. I understand that mind. Going to the Academy could seem like a big setback if you wait and see right now. First of all, you have to live in a closed academy except for a very short vacation for a long time of 5 years. And in the meantime, Astana will win over the nobles, with a rival named Perez trapped in the academy. That's exactly what the Empress planned. She can't kill or harm Perez anymore, but this is just the result she wants. Perez, in my previous life, met his trusted side at the academy. Maybe indeed view the academy as the next best thing that those who fail to become successors reluctantly choose. In other words, it also meant that there were a lot of people who were pushed to the academy despite their abilities. Their parents will pick out an unappreciated and talented person to his liking. Also, the academy is out of the emperor's reach. In any case, there were strict rules that were superior to the imperial laws, except the emperor's imperial command, and the students were protected by that law. Considering all the reasons that I should be admitted to the academy, is there any particular reason? The reason you don't want to go to the academy? That's it. Perez looks me in the eye. Excuse when he tries to say something. Ruby like eyes sparkled in the light, just he didn't want to tell me why. It wasn't a straightforward reaction to everything, but it happens sometimes. Think about it slowly. I didn't push his back, saying, you must go to the academy. He also nodded with a mysterious look on his face. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Ah, my dear. Ah, I admire you so much. My life, my light, my heart. The rental. Thinking of you, my sun rises and the stars set. My beautiful darling, don't forget this, love. Let's have a great day together. Please don't forget. Clap, clap, clap. Julieta Avina's birthday performance where opera tickets sold out day after day. But while clapping, the nobles were surprised by the extravagant luxury, even though I'm the granddaughter of the Lord of Lombardy and Gallian Lombardi's daughter. They've never heard of such a splendid, grand 11 years old birthday. Julieta Avino is sponsored by a clothing store. Someone whispered that Julieta's stage costumes as colorful as any customized dress. There's a rumor going around that it's not sponsored by the clothing store, it's sponsored by Gallian Lombardi. That's what they're saying. Oh, really? So did Julieta, and so did Second Prince. I guess it's true that Gallian Lombardi is successful in anything he touches. How many times did the taxes increase within a month after the opening of the clothing store in Sisu? Maybe we should not anticipate the succession of the throne, but rather predict Lombardy's next move. It's a matter of first or third. Everyone nodded in agreement with that statement. It seems that the imperial family has already started walking the tightrope. The eyes of the nobles who were talking reached Perez, the second prince. But still, can we beat Liz Lombardi, who has Angenes as his wife? Well, again, many people agreed. Gallian is very prominent these days, but the first son Liz could not be ignored. And Gallian Lombardi doesn't have a son to carry on the family, does he? He's still young, so there's a chance he'll have children in the future. But there's a saying that Callian's daughter is specially loved by the Lord. No matter how beautiful you are, there's a limit to a girl. Sadly, that was correct. But then one of the crowds pointed to either side and said, did Lula Lombardi ever have such a favorite succession? There was Florentia, who ran with a smile, called Grandpa and Lord of Lombardi, who held such a granddaughter and burst into a silly laugh from ear to ear. Oh my, they don't know where to line up. The worries of the aristocrats who saw the granddaughter look so beautiful that they could not help themselves became deeper. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Chirping. Even if no one woke me up, my eyes opened on their own. Outside, I hear birds chirping, cool wind and sunny sky. It was a perfect morning. Wash up, change clothes, get dressed, up, have a simple breakfast. There was a blockage in this series of events like water flowing. Finally, Laurel, who was touching my clothes in front of the mirror, asked, it's the first day of freedom that you've been waiting for. What are you going to do today? Well, first of all, I walked to the side of the bed and took out a bucket that I had cherished in the drawer. Jingle. Once a year, once you hear it, you'll all sound that everyone had no choice but to know. I smiled with delight at the heaviness of the money filled in my pocket. I'm going to spend some of my pocket money. The first day is shopping. End of chapter 75.